So here are my pork feet and my chicken feet. If you're unable to find these at your local farmer's market, you can also grab these pretty easily at any local Asian market. That is where I actually got mine. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm putting my pork feet and chicken feet into my Dutch oven, and I'm covering them with some salt to help release any of those impurities. I did talk to some of the people at the Asian market, and they actually gave me some tips and tricks. So they told me that they always like to pour some salt over it. Of course, do that initial boil. So here are the chicken feet. You can see that they have these long nails. And when I was talking to the people at the Asian market who ran the store, they were telling me that people are constantly cutting off the nails, but they were telling me that there's actually a lot of nutrient in the nails. So if you're on YouTube, you might actually see people chopping off the tips of the chicken feet and the nails. This is how they told me to do it at the market, and so this is how I am doing it. And I haven't had any issues because I've been making this for several weeks now. So as you can see here, I'm just pulling off the foam, pulling off those impurities, and just getting any excess gunk off. You want to go ahead and skim this all off. And even though I am going to be slow cooking mine on the stove, you should still do this initial boil before you throw them into the Instant Pot. I will do another video on how I do it on the Instant Pot, but I was feeling very old school, feeling my grandmother coming through, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it the old school way and just simmer it on the stove. So anyhow, after I boiled it for about, I think it was about 20 minutes to get all those impurities off, I'm now rinsing it off with cold water just to make sure that I get any excess gunk off, any nasties, which there wasn't much, but you just want to make sure you do another wash because you want to make sure that your broth is clean and clear and it doesn't look milky or murky or anything like that. So now that I'm done washing off the feet, I'm going to go ahead and add them to my other stock pot. I am filling it up with some filtered water, and then I'm also adding in a splash of apple cider vinegar, which is going to help break down the bones and help extract all those really good nutrients. And I forgot to tell you guys, this was 5 pounds of chicken feet and pork feet. If you want your broth to be a little bit more concentrated, you can put a little less water, especially if you have less time. But if you find that you put too much water, go ahead and just take off the lid and let it come to a boil. So after I bring the broth to an initial boil, we have one of those, what do you call it, an electric stove where there is no fire, which I hate. It's not my favorite thing, but that's in our new house. This is how we had to do it because I don't think we had gas. So we have the settings on the stove that has the numbers and then low. So after I brought my broth to an initial boil to get it nice and piping hot, I put it on low. And then I just let it stay on low for about 25 to 36 hours. Yes, about 25 to 36 hours. And then I just poured it into my mason jar. You can see I have a really nice golden concentrated broth. Before, when I put less water, it was even more concentrated, so you can play with the water measurements. And then when the broth is done, after I put it into my mason jars, I just scoop out the chicken feet and the pork feet. I am putting them on some parchment paper on a cookie sheet because why throw it away? These make really great crunchies. We don't have an air fryer at the moment, but we do have an oven. So when I want to dehydrate things, I just put things on the lowest possible temperature in my oven, which I believe my lowest is 170. So I'm just taking these chicken feet and pork feet and I'm drying them out because they make for really great crunchies. They have really great collagen in them, so why waste it? So this made 4 mason jars, 2.5 gallons of pork feet and chicken feet. These actually freeze very well. Just don't fill up the broth too high or it will explode in the freezer. Here are the chicken feet and pork feet scraps that I got out of the broth. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop them into my oven on my parchment paper and cookie sheet and just dehydrate them low and slow at 170 degrees. Now if you have a dehydrator or an air fryer, that would work also. Now this is the next day. You can see that the broth is very gelatinous, very jiggly, which means it's going to have all that really good collagen that's going to be beneficial to your skin and beneficial to that gut lining that we talked about in the beginning of the video. So I recommend, if you're not going to drink this quickly, put some in the freezer, but this is really great to sip on. You can have this instead of your morning tea or coffee. This is something you can just gently warm up. Make sure you don't bring it to a boil, just put it on low heat to a nice simmer, and then you can sip on it in the morning. It's very warming. So here are our chicken feet and pork feet. It was a long time these had to stay in the oven to dehydrate. I just like to do it low and slow. Look, the chicken's giving us the middle finger. I'm a child, you guys. Anyway, it was giving us the middle finger. I had to show it to you. But these are really yummy, very yummy and crunchy. My husband was a little like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I've been crunching on them and I find that they're very flavorful. The chicken feet have so much of that chicken flavor to them, so I really like them. They turned out very crunchy, and so these are really very delicious. Now, pro tip, if you made it to the end of this video, pro tip, the hooves from the pig feet were pretty empty. There was no meat on them, and once they dehydrated, they fell apart in the stove very easily, and so did the chicken feet. So this is something I usually do with my eggshells. I always save eggshells. I always dry them out, and then I always put them in my Vitamix, because why waste anything? You can put this stuff back into your garden and into your plants. Also, if you're deficient in calcium, you can use a little bit of this powder and then just sprinkle it on your food. You know, you want to be careful with calcium, too much calcium, but what I like to do is put it in my Vitamix, grind it up. I love the Vitamix, you guys. I am not sponsored, but this is probably my favorite kitchen gadget. I mean, I'm torn between Vitamix and Instant Pot, but Vitamix is just too good. Like, it's too good. Like, what machine can take hard bones and turn it into a powder like this? I absolutely love this machine. If you want a Christmas present or anniversary present or birthday present, the Vitamix, I've had this one for almost 10 years, never had a problem. It's a fantastic product. So here is our chicken feet and pork feet, just the bones that I had left over, and it made a really great powder. It's going to be shelf stable, but we are in the middle of spring right now, and you can see I have all my beautiful tomato plants in the window. Spring keeps faking on us, y'all. It's pretty cold here on the East Coast still. We're still dipping down into the 30s a little bit, so my tomatoes have just been hanging out in the kitchen with me, and they are growing like crazy. So when I put these in, I'm going to go ahead and amend the soil with some of this calcium for my plants for this spring and summer garden. So this was just a great pro tip. Don't waste any of your meats. You can use all the parts and they can all benefit you, because you got to put that calcium back into the plant, and then the plant in turn is going to give you all those vitamins and minerals that you need when you eat them. Anyway, let me know how your chicken feet, pork feet soup is going. Let me know what benefits you're feeling from it, and I will be back with another video on how to make it using the Instant Pot, because I also love using the Instant Pot for this soup.